Okay, this is a tutorial on how to pack a 78, which is a 10-inch record. It's either a shellac or this is styrene actually, from the 50s. But what I'm going to do is show you what you have to do. I use these boxes from Walmart just because they're easily accessible. This is a 17 by 11 by 13 box, and then I basically just cut the box at the seams so I have some flat pads to use. So this is one that I've cut down. It's going to be a pad for the record itself. And then these two are about 11 inches wide, and they're going to make the inner box. And then I'm using one more pad in addition, which is quite wider, the same length. And this is going to create an outer shell for the box. So with all that said, I take my record, and in this case, I don't have any spare sleeves for 78. So what I'm using is I'm using a 9 by 12 poly bag. Just because I have those available, and I'm using that to protect the record during transit. I also use it too in inventories, so I know which is what. So we've got it here on the pad itself, and what I'm going to do is take one edge and like kind of set the edge over to the edge of this bag here, as it lays flat. And I'm going to mark it up here. So let's say it's about here, here, and up here. And what I'm doing is I'm making a pad that's specifically the size too. So I'm cutting it at the point, and then I'm cutting it at this point up here. So now I have a pad that is perfectly sized for this bag record. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tape this to the cardboard pad itself. You can use a piece of a couple pieces of paper to make a sleeve for the record if you want, or you can just use, if you have a sleeve, you can use a standard sleeve for 78s, or you can actually, as I've done before, take a regular 12-inch sleeve and then just basically fold it here like so, and then you've basically got a 10-inch sleeve. But since I had this in inventory with this poly sleeve or poly bag, I'm just going to leave it with that. So now we're right there at the edge. We're at a 10-inch mark here on my Boston cutter. It's just a little bit more than 10 inches. So I just put it in my head that just cut this first pad just a little bit fat of the 10 inches. So I'll set it up about right there. None of this has to be perfect, by the way. It's just, then what I do with this is I can feel this extra piece when it falls off the edge of the cutter. I know where to cut it flat there. So I've got a nice straight edge here, and I'm going to use the native crease of the box to make that one edge of the box. And since when I put this record in the bag, I flipped it upside down with the flap out. I didn't seal the bag because I didn't want the customer to have to worry about cutting that bag open. I just flipped it upside down onto this piece of cardboard and just taped it around. So the record's not going anywhere one way or the other. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the record in that pad down like this, and then I pull this edge of the box up, of the flat pad up, and then I have this line. And what I use is this is a sewing wheel. Or a pounce wheel in drafting. It's just basically to roll around and imprint a line on whatever you're going to be sewing or drafting, wherever you would run your ink pen. But so with this, I had to gusset it with metal a long time ago because I broke it, and I actually ordered a couple new ones off of Amazon recently, so in case I did break this. But I actually like the weight of this now because I pack a lot of records, so I use this all the time. And so what I do is I use this to score the cardboard onto this line. You can use a straight edge with this too if you want, but I've done this so often that it doesn't, it's just second nature to me. So what we're doing here is we're making a side of a box. And so now we have a side of a box. And I'm gonna go ahead and tape it here just because I have I just like to keep it solid while I'm working. And now we have this to run across, the scoring blade to run across here. So now we can make the cardboard bend in that direction. And then with the cardboard up like this, we just run the pen. I'm using a Precise V5 pen. It's got a nice metal tip to it, and they actually write really well, but they also score very well with this. So they haven't shot me wrong, but you can use any ballpoint pen you want just to mark this, but this is a little bit better because it's got that thin edge that you can stick over a cardboard and it can mark more precise. So we see here how the cardboard needs to be cut. I'm going to go a little bit fat of that, so then that way when the cardboard falls over, it's not pinching that edge. So I'm basically going to go a little bit over, and then we have this. So now we have basically a sandwich with that 78 in the middle, and I'll tape it a couple times because I mistaped there. Tape is cheap, so tape as much as you want. The tape that I'm using, you can get from Walmart. It's the simple, it's the cheapest economy tape that Duck Tape makes. I think you can get 4 rolls of it at 55 yards at 4 rolls for like under $10 at Walmart. And so, so now we have a pretty solid initial box. There's a pad and then 2 pads on top of a pad. And now what I'm going to do is the second part of the box to make the first box inside. So taking note of where this lands on the paper cutter, it's just right about 10.5 inches. So I just keep that thought in my head, 10.5 inches. I take the other pad, I've got to square it up here real quick. I'm going to square this edge up. And do the same on this side. Line this up at 10.5 inches over here. This paper cutter, I bought it at an estate sale about 10 years ago maybe. It's been with me a long time and I've used it a lot, you can tell, and I've actually had to go back and redraw some of the grid because at some point when I bought it, it had this had gotten exposed to water on this edge over here at one point, so this whole side's about 1/4 inch taller than everything else. But it does not bother the efficiency of it. And these marks here are just simply for like an LP pad, and this is a box width basically when you make a box, and then this is like a box width for a 45. And then there's other marks that I have in here for like cassette tapes is like 4.5, a little bit over 4 1/4 inches wide and all that. So that's what these marks are for on here. So we've got this box that we just squared up, and now I'm going to go through the same process with the pen. I just lay the pen down flat kind of and just run it across the edge of the next pad, and we got this line, so I'm going to go ahead and score it. Again, when you do this a couple times with the scoring of the cardboard, it just becomes second nature. And usually I can pack about maybe 5 or 6 records in an hour, maybe more. If I'm just taking my time, I can do it. You know, it's basically I just pack records whenever I feel like it, and I always have orders of some sort, so it's just kind of like busy work, and it's continual. So it might take you probably 15 minutes to make this box or a little bit less. You can buy boxes for 78s and then pads to go with it and all that, but this way I found you really limit the travel in the box of the record. It's not going to move either way because you've basically exact fitting that record to the box by folding the cardboard around it in this careful way. So now I'm going to go ahead and do this crease here, perforations. And I really like the Walmart cardboard too, whatever brand this is, Pen and Gear or whatever. The cardboard is pretty stiff, but it's also, and it bends well. It's not like the U-Haul box that you can buy for records, you know, the ones, the small boxes. And that cardboard is it's spongier and thicker, which is kind of cool to make an inner pad, but it's not good for an outer box because it dents easy. This cardboard is pretty resilient, and it accepts, it's pretty resistant to any sort of like dings or damage. At least from what I've had records go around the world and come back to me because the buyer's address changed or whatever, and these boxes have come back to me and the records are in perfect shape, and they've literally been to like Argentina and Tokyo and all kinds of places, and they come back and the record's just fine, and I can actually just cover up the old address label and then sell the record again and send it out the same way. So it's been a long journey to figure out how to do this. So that's why, and I like sharing my knowledge with the world in this way. So now we have a sandwich inside of a sandwich. So now we got a solid box. This box is sturdy, it's stout, it's not going to break. The only time that this record in here would break maybe is if it had a severe point load on it. I haven't had that happen in probably 2 or 3 years. So, and that was back when I was using conventional boxes, like record shipping boxes. So I've never had one break in using this method. So I'm at 10 and a half inches wide over here. So now I'm going to take this long pad that I just cut, and I'm going to square it off on one side. And I got a flat side here. I'm going to cut it at 10 and a half, a little bit over 10 and a half on this side. And now we have the last part of our box. And we take the open part of the box from the last wrap, and we flip it over, set it here at the corner up against the crease area, or the creased flap. This is the normal box crease here. I make my line, I do the same thing, the same score again. Now you might see that the line is a little uneven because the box itself, I didn't take the time to go and cut this here at this overlap. I just let the overlap happen, and it kind of makes it a little bit stiffer because now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 layers of cardboard here. The more cardboard, the stiffer the box and the more resistant it's going to be to any sort of breakage or damage during transit. So now I put this right back over here. I can hold it with my hand. We're at this edge, and in this case I'm going to just run the pen like so to get that line for easier creasing here. And now we have this, and I've got to mark one more time, and this will be the final crease. And we're going to be a little over with the flaps here. Again, this is the open part of the last folded part to make a box inside, and then this. So now we have this, and what I do with the last one, the last layer usually, is I will mark it inside here with the pen. So I take this pen and I just like kind of tick it, and there's the mark right there. So I just line it up here, make sure that it corresponds level with the grid here, and then collapse the box in on itself. Now you'll see we're a little bit fat on the angles here of 90 degrees, so I'm going to trim this just a little bit, maybe, I don't know, maybe like an 1/16 or 1/8 of an inch, and that should get us to where we need to be. Almost. One more. This is the most imprecise part of the box making, and here we go. So now we have a very solid box, and on all sides it's very solid. That is not going anywhere. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 layers of cardboard on this side, 3 layers of cardboard on this side. There's at least 2 layers of cardboard on this side. So you've really got a very sturdy box here. And what I use out of view here is a 3-inch tape dispenser with this tape that I get from Miami. He sells 6 of these rolls. I think the rolls are 55 yards each. And it's this brown shipping tape, and it's got a really good tack to it, meaning it's really sticky, but it's not too sticky. And it's just been fantastic to work with. So I try to do other methods, but it just didn't. This seemed to be the best way. And again, I'm just covering it up, wrapping the tape around to make sure that I tape both edges. I work them down with the fingers like this, and then I do this one more time. And none of this is exact, as you can tell, but it is definitely durable. And you do this a couple times, you learn how to do it, and it's just simple after some time. Now, the boxes, like I said, the boxes are now, the boxes at Walmart are now a little bit more expensive. They used to be 14 by 14 boxes at Walmart, and they were 72 cents. And then I watched the 14 by 14 by 14 boxes, basically a square. I saw them go down to 14 by 14 by 12, and then they were the same price. And now we're down to 17 by 11 by 13. And now there's less cardboard, of course, and they're $1, a little bit over $1 a piece now. So actually, when I pack my LPs now, I do a similar method to this with my LPs, but I've actually started ordering my LP boxes online. I do the inner pad, the first one to kind of flip over both edges, and then I tape it, and then I basically put them in a regular shipping box. So it's basically double layer cardboard. So this is what we come up with, and then I use this fragile tape that I ordered online. I think I had 36 rolls for maybe like $60 or something. This is a while back. And I know each one of the fragile information there's about 6 to 8 inches long. So it's usually, I usually do about 4 of them when I pull them off the roll there. And this is what it looks like when it comes off. Now what I like to do just to make it look cleaner is I'll run the tape right up to the other line, and then I cut it because I'm going to put my shipping label right here. The shipping label looks like this. I just print it right off of eBay. Go to the print shipping label page, and it just comes out just like this. And I cut off all this information. It isn't important, and I used to keep these for my records, but I no longer do because there's a digital archive of them online. So then I lined it up with the edge here of the paper cutter. Just cut, and that's it. And then I basically set it over so that the fragile's clear and clear view. I use my clear tape here, which is on a separate dispenser there. I got this dispenser at Walmart about 6 years ago, maybe. They sold them there, and then they pulled them from shelves because I guess they probably weren't selling enough to warrant them taking up the shelf space. That's it. So that is what you get. This is a great box for shipping a 78. You can do more layers of cardboard if you want to. If you sold it like a banger of a 78, maybe like $300 or $400 or something, I would definitely cover it again and again in cardboard. So it's like this real thick box. But really what you want is something that's packed tight, that's got lots of cardboard around and around, and then just tape it nice and tight with your shipping tape on all sides. This is a waterproof box pretty much now, unless it just soaked all the way through all the cardboard. Yeah, and that's it. Good way to pack a 78.